Hello, welcome to a chat with Matt. I am your host, Matt. Obviously, today we've got a great guest. Sorry about the last episode. It was a good one, but I guess you just got to make sure you're watching live, or you won't get to see the magic happen. Because sometimes we're asked by lawyers to not post the videos that we have posted or to take them down. So hopefully we won't have that problem today. But first, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my co-host, Eugene Emery. Oh, there he is,
There
Eugene
I
at the
am.
wheel. How you doing, bud?
Oh, not too bad. Another week down.
Yeah, is that a Daredevil hat you're wearing?
It is.
Oh, that's cool. When I first saw it, I honestly thought it was like a monster, the little. I was like, oh, okay, that's dorky. And now I have a better look at it. I see it's Daredevil. I support that.
Oh, take these off. Oh, I could be him.
Eugene, what's that noise? What's happening? All right. So, anything new, Eugene? Anything we need to tell our loyal viewers?
no, it's welcome to February. We're in it.
Yeah, we're there. Let's go ahead and get our guest out here. His name is Scott Vargas. Scott, up here. There he is.
Can
How
you hear
brave.
me?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
How brave of
Disclaimer,
you.
everything I'm going to say is trademark Vargas Enterprises. Anything repeated, you owe me royalties. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
or my lawyer will come after you.
Yeah, we had to pay Scott to get on here.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show I have a Bell's Two Hearted. I'm going to have me one of these. I'm not going to drink too much today though because I really tied one on last night, and I don't want alcohol.
I'm
But I
kind of
feel
jealous.
like
I think I'm going to get my beer so we can all drink beer together. I can only have one beer because I got to work later.
yeah. Hey, if you want to get a beer, you knock yourself out. We'll put the
Hell
whole show
yeah.
on hold for you.
Me
Everybody,
too.
stop! Stop what you're doing. Scott needs a beer.
Well, I guess we should make the big. There it is.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Eugene's he's got to work tonight. So,
We're
oh,
good
here we
Super Bowl,
go.
baby.
Hey.
Is that a chilled glass?
Oh, you like this?
Is that a chilled glass? Good
It's a
Lord.
frosty mug, and I am having Guinness Stout. All right.
There you go.
My new
Good
favorite
choice.
beers now.
Excellent.
And then the best way is to pour it at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah. Welcome to beer dispensing with Scott Vargas.
And it's funny because normally I'm more of a wine drinker than I am a beer drinker.
Mm-hmm.
But I got turned on to this recently, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so delicious, so
Mhm.
scrumptious. So it's
Good.
like, it goes down so smooth.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Scott is an old friend of mine. We used to work together a long time ago in the before times. That's
Mhm.
what I like to call them. It's been a while since we've got to actually talk and see each other, so it's real nice. I'm glad you're here.
yeah, it's really nice. I know Eugene. I always usually see him out with parties with you in
Yeah.
public every once in a while. And I would see Eugene maybe just crossing patterns or something like that. That's all.
See, back in the day, Scott used to work in a kiosk,
Yes.
the old GameStop.
Oh.
I used to
Well,
sell
Babbage's
Verizon.
at the time.
I used to sell Verizon cell phones.
You guys are spoiling the show. We're not
Oh,
there yet.
We're going too far
God.
into the future.
Damn
I'll
it.
Stop.
We
Rewind.
start
How you rewind this thing? Right? All right.
we start our show at the beginning of our guest's life, and that is what we're going to do today. Scott Vargas, you were born on New Year's Eve in 1973.
Yes. My mother was able to claim me for taxes for the whole year.
Before Star You were born before Star Wars. Has it sucked having your birthday so close to Christmas?
No,
No.
I like it. Because Christmas was Christmas, and I had my Christmas presents, and I always knew there was other presents somewhere hidden in the house. And I think, well, there's more Christmas presents for me.
Mhm.
No, my mother's, that's your birthday present. Santa Claus didn't get you Christmas. So it was kind of confusing. But then it was like Christmas part 2 when it came back around in New Year's. But it was a good New Year's Eve, growing up, going into the bars. especially on New Year's Eve. I always, hey, somebody buy me a shot. It's my birthday. And they're like, oh, it's New Year's Eve bullshit. I'm like, well, here's my ID. And they're like, all right, get this guy a shot. And some other drunk guy's like, hey, it's his birthday. Give him a beer. I never had to buy alcohol on my birthday on New Year's Eve. Of all places not to spend alcohol, New Year's Eve was the best time because I never had to pay alcohol. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just know it always like my nephew's birthday is at the very beginning of December. I always forget about it. Like I've got Christmas shopping done for everybody, and then it's like the day before his birthday. I'm just like, fuck, I never got him anything, and like I'll have to rush out because I forget about it. And I got a cousin who her birthday is on Christmas, and that I always try to go out of my way to tell her happy birthday because I know growing up, you know, she got the shaft a lot because people would just forget about it.
It does. That's gotta suck.
Yeah. But okay. So what were your parents doing like when you were born? Like what was their job?
So my father at the time worked for Conrail, with my grandfather.
Okay.
My mother, on the other hand, she's a long line of housewives. Mm-hmm. She was not that it's by choice, just culture, I guess. She was a housewife. My grandmother was a housewife. My great grandmother was a housewife. So it was just, that's how she always saw herself. It's just stay-at-home mom, raise the kids. That's pretty much what my mother's profession. You know, she did a lot of side work. She did like pottery before. She did knitting. She sold that. I mean, but for her to have like a full-time job, she never had anything like that. So.
Okay. And were you born in Ashtabula? Born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised. Actually, I literally work at the same place I was born at. So
that's neat.
Yeah, I'm probably going to die there too. So my whole life is surrounded in this one little area.
Yeah.
This is the shittiest circle of life.
Exactly.
You're going to have a plaque up on the wall. He was born here. He died here.
Yeah. Born, work, and died. How depressing is that?
Yep. Maybe someday it'll be like Scott Vargas Memorial Hospital.
That'd be nice. Really proud of me.
Yeah. So you have two older half brothers.
Yeah.
So like. Halves are they? I had frozen.
Reframe.
Up. There we go. I'm back. We got the two half brothers.
Two older
what
half
brothers. Are they? Like how are you related to them?
They both have different fathers. We all have different fathers.
Okay.
So my mother wasn't very good at finding the perfect husband. To say. And so when I was born, she thought my dad was going to be the one.
Yeah.
Come and find out he had a lot of closets, a lot of skeletons in his closet that it came out later on. And like he had the first, you know, it's kind of a sad story, but I was too young not to care. But you know, like, oh, he's not my child. That's not my baby. You know, that kind of whole, you know, like Jerry Springer situation was going on. Then I was born. Then he's like, oh, this is my baby. My mother was so, oh, you know, it was just a lot of drama going on there. And he didn't want to live up to wanting to be like part of my life. So my mother, having two older brothers, their last names were Vargas. So my mother potentially changed my last name to theirs. So that way we grew up as brothers, not as half brothers. I mean, we are, but the idea of having different names she was worried that it might separate us growing up. And I think it worked because it took forever to realize, like maybe when I was 16, it's like, oh my God, these are actually my half brothers. Because I always known them as my brothers, and I still see them as my brothers. I hate calling them my half brothers, even though by nature they are.
Yeah.
But my mother wanted me to keep the last name. That way we feel like a family together. That's basically. My grandfather wanted me to change it back to my Italian last name. So
which was
Orlando. So
that's your original last name? It
was Orlando. Yeah, it was going to be Scott Orlando. Yeah, but my mother wanted to change it to Vargas. All my life, everybody thought I was Hispanic, and because of my last name being Vargas.
You know, I guess I'm just ignorant because I never even thought about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like when you said that, I'm just like, why would I think you were Hispanic? But I'm dumb.
Google the name.
Yeah. But no, I know what you mean. My sister's the same way. She's my half sister, but I don't say that. Like I said, this is my sister. And my mom was in the same boat. Like when my sister was born, I think she thought that they were going to get married. You know, my sister's dad. So my sister has his last name, but mine's different. Like It's I always felt bad because my sister has a different last name for me and my mom. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, but
No,
so
but
it's
my
one of
mother
those
was
things.
worried that that was going to happen, that we would separate each other growing up, and then we did. My middle brother is like a year and a half older than me. My oldest brother is 9 years away from
Oh
me.
wow,
So
okay, that's a
mhm.
big, well, not a huge gap, but
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so okay, so you answered my next question. I was going to
Oh,
say you revealed to me your dark secret that
oh,
you're not actually Hispanic.
no.
You
Sorry to
phony.
disappoint you. If I ever become famous like a president, all these Hispanic people would be all happy that I was like, no, it's going to be Italian. Sorry to disappoint you. Italians win this time again.
So you told me you were raised by your grandparents for
For the
the
better
better
part of my
part of
life,
your
yeah,
life.
yeah. Like,
So why was that?
well,
And like,
I'll go back to my mother not finding that perfect husband, and she always found like the worst people. So my
mm,
grandfather, being full-blooded Italian himself, and I was the only Italian on my mother's side, because all my older brothers are not Italian at all. So my
okay,
grandfather kind of had like this, like, you're part of the group, so you're coming with me. So you're part of the Italian group. So I grew up. So I mean, it's not like I didn't spend time with my mother. I did, like maybe through the middle schools, because uh, during elementary school, our house was literally right across the street. So I was with my mom for a good part of that. But summertime, I was always at my grandparents' house all
mm,
the time, all the time. And then all through high school, I stayed up with my grandparents and everything like that. And because I didn't really have a really true father growing up. So my grandfather was the guy right there to make sure I got my first car. He made sure, he paid for, sent me to a private school. I went
no,
to Our Lady of Mark Carmel, 8 years, because it was K-8. And then he gave me an option to either go to St. John's, which is a private Catholic school, or
mm,
go to Harbor High, time private, public school. He said, if you go to St. John's, you have to get a job and get your own car. If you go to public school, I'll help you get your car. I'm like, car, car. I was like, I want the car. So I went to a public school, which kind of worked out even better.
mm-hmm. Interesting. Sorry, I took a drink at the wrong
That's
time.
okay. Cheers.
So you got to grow up in the '80s,
Ah, yes.
which sounds amazing.
Yes.
It's the perfect time to be alive, I think, when you're into movies too.
Hmm.
Now, do you think you're into movies because you grew up in the '80s,
Hmm.
or are you just lucky? Like it was the perfect time for you?
Yeah, it's a perfect storm. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. Do you used to work at Nichols Plaza,
Yep.
or not Nichols, the theater that used to be Nichols?
The same place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was like my favorite place in the world to be, to watch
Uh,
movies. And
mhm.
it was just like an escape from reality. And I loved every minute of it.
I have fond memories of working there. That was probably one of the most. That's the best job I've ever had.
Yeah. It was always known as
Honestly,
the sticky theater. Remember? That
that's
was the
right.
nickname.
We
Still love
called
it.
it the Ghettoplex. It was
Ah, it was my
but
hobby. It was my favorite place.
Sticky Theater works. One of the movies that you loved is Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Yes. You see that
and
poster right there?
yes,
Right there. Yes.
and you told me that you are a super fan. So,
Mm-hmm.
what exactly makes you a super fan of Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Maybe my own version of super fan. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark to me, I remember I was very young when I watched it, and I liked it, and I think I appreciated it more when the other two movies came out, and
Mhm,
even more when I got older, because every time I would see it on the TV or something, it just would pull me back into that
mhm,
time of watching it when I was a kid, and just it's such a fun time in my life going to the movies, and that movie right there just encompassed everything that was growing up. So I started just be more obsessed with it even years later. I mean, I can't show you things, but I got all these little movie props that I have, and I watched like 1,000 times. I can tell you how many times I sat down watching Indiana Jones hammered drunk. Just so great.
Get him in, D. You
it's
got
it,
it.
He's gonna get it. I know what's gonna happen. You're gonna fall.
it's understandable, and I don't know what it is. I
Yeah.
think maybe if you just have that kind of I feel bad for kids nowadays who grow up and don't have like that relationship to like stuff like Indiana Jones, because I grew up watching that too. Like I loved it. He was one of my biggest heroes growing up. I
Oh yeah.
remember watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's funny because I'll go back and watch, and I know I watch Raiders of the Lost Ark a lot, but Last Crusade is much more in my mind.
Mhm.
So I think I was probably just a lot younger watching
Yeah.
Raiders.
You're a super fan when you can almost quote every single line. You can almost watch the movie and say line for line. I mean, that's how crazy that is
Yes.
that I
And
watch.
I won't say I'm a super fan with that. I am a super fan with Ghostbusters. In
Oh
the
yeah.
same context of what you're saying of I could sit there and just say
I
the
mean, there's a
whole
lot
movie.
of those movies that I like.
Yeah.
Honestly,
The 80s were perfect.
even the movie E.T. to me was awesome. That actually
Mhm.
opened up a whole new world for me. E.T. So it was almost a cross between E.T. and Indiana Jones. We're gonna raise the Lost Ark because
Mhm.
E.T. I remember I watched it 9 times at the movie theater.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
remember after the fourth, fifth time, I was like, I'm gonna just keep watching it until that goes away. So after the ninth time, it's like, oh, next week we're gonna watch it for the 10th time. It went away. I was so disappointed. I wanted that 10th showing. So I had to wait 20 years later. They re-released it at the same theater. I went and watched it. I brought my oldest daughter at the time. She was 9, I think. And we sat exactly the same seat, same location. And I watched it for the 10th time on the same
That's
theater,
awesome.
same seat. I was like, that was E.T. E.T. has a lot of fond memories for me as well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Is that the movie you've seen the most in theaters?
E.T., yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, and then I ended up buying like the soundtrack afterwards. I mean, I was
Mhm.
a real big ET fan as well.
So you're a big Spielberg fan. Is what
Unfortunately, yeah, because it's some of those movies just they were really
Yeah,
good.
he's such a bizarre director. Like he could
Mhm.
just have absolute classics and amazing films, and it's just like, what is this piece of shit?
I know,
How
yeah.
did you? How did this come from the same person?
Not everybody can hit a home run all the time. So
Yeah, but he's Spielberg, so no one's just like
yeah,
his career isn't over. It's just like, yeah, that one sucks. What's coming out next?
yeah. It's like what the hell with the Crystal Skull? I didn't. That was just something I didn't care.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it so bad. It had so much potential. It's like, dude, I was just very disappointed.
Just
Those
too
dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So,
Who believes that shit?
yeah, God,
Dinosaurs.
so fake.
Uh, so another big thing about the '80s is that that was also the perfect time for horror films,
Mhm.
and just so many of the classics came out at that time. But you told me you're a huge fan of Friday the 13th,
Yes.
and you and your friends created a game that you would play outdoors. And I was
Oh
hoping
my
you would
God. Yeah,
explain this to me.
we called it Freddy. We used to call it, let's go play Freddy. I'm sorry, let's go play Jason. I'm
Mhm.
already jumping ahead. But I go, let's go play Jason. What it was, it's like a demented version of tag, is the best way I could describe it. And it started off with us wearing a bag. It was at my grandparents' house. He lives in like a really good wooded area. It's like near the track. So it's just a perfect setting for murder, you know.
Okay.
So and we had my at the time, I think my middle brother was actually playing with us, and he was Jason. He had this bag, and the game was we go out hiding, and then Jason comes finding us. That was
Mhm.
at the beginning of it, and it was fun. It was during the daylight hours, and it was fun because it progressively got better because then we started playing at nighttime, and then we started to make our own hockey masks because at the time they didn't have you couldn't buy it like Halloween hockey masks at that age. It
Yeah.
wasn't. I mean, if it wasn't an Ashtabula. So we made our own hockey mask. We made our own cardboard knives. I mean, it was just we put a lot of effort in this, and then we
Mhm.
moved it up the street up closer to my best friend's house. And then it went out to where Jason went out and hid somewhere. And then we went out just walking around and see if we could try to find him. And the way these houses are, there's these little back alleys behind the houses. It was so dark and gloomy. It really got to your psyche.
Yeah.
There's a point where that's not your friend out there wearing a Jason mask. It's Jason. He's coming to get you. And we got so like, our heart was beeping. Like and we would take off running. The rules were Jason wasn't allowed to chase after us like full speed. He had to walk fast, like power
Mhm.
walk. But if he wasn't chasing him, but he could sprint to locations, but he can't sprint with chasing after us. He threw his
Mhm.
knife at us. We got hit in the leg, and like we got injured in the leg. We had stumble
Wow.
across like that. And we played so many summers like that. And I wish we would have took pictures of ourselves because we really got into. We had ball caps, everything.
I think we should do
Unbelievable.
that now.
Oh, I was still doing it.
Let's
I
do
can
this.
call my friends right now. They're like, yeah, let's do it.
I want to get in on that. Have you played the Friday the 13th game that's out? Like,
I did play it when it first came out. It was full of bugs at first, but I loved the feeling of it. I loved it. Actually, it felt like
yes.
I like the whole the concept. I put it off the side for a while because it had a lot of bugs,
Yeah.
but I still have it.
Yeah,
But
I've watched a lot of videos of people playing that, and it's like there are some moments and it's just like you get that like really tense, like
yeah,
oh shit, like it's really good. So
and
that's
it's
fun.
funny. I recorded myself playing that and I uploaded it on YouTube. Unfortunately, I did it when I was hammered drunk. So it's a lot of me because you could chat. Yeah, it's in its own chat inside.
Yeah.
You can scream at people, you know. And I remember just screaming at people. I was, I died instantaneously, you know. But somewhere on YouTube, I have to show you. But it's just me, just screaming drunk, and it's so hysterical. So I have to send you the link. It's kind of fun.
Definitely.
That's a
Yeah.
whole adverse effect when you get to play as Jason. They're just like, and you can't get a kill. It's like, damn it, why can't damn counselor's too fast?
You know that the thing about playing Jason is when we were growing up, I couldn't play Jason because I always had glasses. So every time we had masks, I could see because my glasses would always fog up. So I was always the victim.
So you're always the victim, Scott.
I was always, and I did try. Now we all had our own theme. You know, there was like a part 3 mask. I had a part 5 mask, which was blue. So I remember we bought it when it just came out, and I took my glasses off, and it's like I want to play Jason so bad. So and I couldn't see where shit, and it's dark out, and I'm blind as a bat without my glasses. I didn't even have contacts at the time, and I wish I did. So I remember trying to play Jason, look for my friends, and I was so blind, and I couldn't see them anywhere. That was like the worst.
You know what you should have done? Got yourself a wig and a sweater and went as Pamela Voorhees.
I could just that's off.
Kill her, mommy. Kill her.
I real quick story. My middle brother, I don't know if to know him, he's a very gullible person. He's very naive. Everybody thought he was the youngest one. We always had to look out for him because everybody used to take advantage of. But when he used to play with us, he really got into it to where my friend was playing Jason, and he would get stopped. She turned around and she goes, "Jason, I'm your mother." And my friend was like, "Just kill him." It's like he was like trying to act out the movie scene. It's like, no, this is not acting out. You gotta run for your life. My brother was like, "Jason, I'm your mother." And my friend's like, "Whatever." And he just kills him. So
I was really hoping this story escalated to the point, like, and then Tony murdered like a neighbor of ours. And
we used to play at night. We had cars would stop, pull into our neighborhood. He goes, "Hey kid, there's a guy walking around with a mask." Oh, I know, it's my best friend.
Get in the fucking house, man.
He goes, "He's my best friend." He goes, "What kind of fucking game is this?" I was like, "Get out of here. It's our neighborhood. Just leave." And people would like, they'd see us, you know, like this one old part didn't know we were playing. And I remember running. I got so tired. I was leaning on this guy's porch. We're in the same neighborhood. And my buddy's pretending to stab me with this tomato pitchfork, you know. The guy's looking out the window like, "Oh my God." He's like, "We're going to call the cops. Why are you guys?" He was so.
See, that's the thing. Now, if you did that, like everybody would get shot.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody would just,
It's a fake cardboard box.
Yeah, you'd have to rent out a place to go and play
Yeah,
this game.
it was a different time back then.
Oh,
I mean, I got hit in the nuts with a car. I mean, so there's a lot of good war stories.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get back to the fun entertainment stuff in a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you about school, when you were in school. How were you as a student?
Middle school, it was a struggle for me. I think it's just because like my mother wasn't there to help me with the schoolwork. My grandparents were kind of out of touch with like what was educational wise, and some of the kids, I was in a Catholic school, so and there were strict, staunch Catholic teachers and priests and stuff like that. So I came from a broken home, so to them there was frowned upon, you know. And they didn't come out and say it, but you could tell I was treated a little bit differently. So it was hard going through school, middle school. But when I got to high school, it was like a whole new world for me. Especially I went instead of going to St. John's, would have been all the same kids I grew up with. I went to the public school, which was a lot better, and classes were so much easier because a lot of the classes we had in middle school were like high school classes. So it gave me an advantage in the public schools. It's like, oh my God, I had the same book my 7th grade. Now we're doing it in my freshman year. It's like, it was bizarre. Like, oh, I aced this class. I aced this class. You know,
so you didn't get like bored? You didn't get bored?
You know, it's funny because geography class, I remember they were going over the capitals, state capitals, like our freshman year. It's like, that's bizarre. This is like a seventh grade. I remember sleeping and the teacher like, hey, wake up. I go, why? He goes, what's the capital of Ethiopia? I go, Addis Ababa. He goes, all right, put your head back down. It's like, well, you know, what's the capital? You know, I knew all the capitals and I knew all the geography things. It was like,
Yeah.
I aced all these. It was like the exact same test. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was weird.
Wow, that's crazy. So, was your family like religious growing up? Were your grandparents?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a very Catholic neighborhood, Italian Catholic neighborhood.
Okay.
And I mean, I wouldn't say my mother was very hardcore Catholic.
Hmm.
My grandfather was. They made sure we go to church every Sunday. Um, you know, when I went to the private school, we had to church every week. So I mean, I had my fair share of religion. So
Yeah.
when I got to high school, out of high school, I married into. I don't want to get too far ahead, but yeah, we were. You know, we had to go to church every Sunday. It was a Catholic church.
Okay. Uh, so did you like? Do you have fond memories of high school then? Like, did
High
you?
school was fun. You know, I got to meet some new friends. And
Are
still
you still
keeping some
friends with them now?
Yeah, actually, one I'm really, really good close friends with. And he should. We didn't grow up. I wish I would have grew up with him because he shared all the same. He loved Jason. He loved all the movies and everything like that.
Mhm.
And it's a shame that we didn't grow up closer because we, you know, it would have been even a better childhood growing up. But I'm still friends with him. I was. He's been married twice now, and I've been his best man his first wedding, and then his second wedding. I was part of his groom. You know.
Yeah, it
So
didn't work out so well the first time. I'm demoting you.
yeah, pretty
We're
much.
gonna have somebody else come in
Yeah.
and see how this works out.
Yeah, we had. It's funny because we have like almost a similar lifestyle growing up. Like I've been married twice, he's been married twice, you know. And so,
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, my second wedding, we didn't even have like groomsmen or bridesmaids. It was like it didn't work out the first time for either of us. We're skipping all that shit. We're not letting you people drag us down.
yeah. My first wedding was like the typical big Catholic wedding,
Hmm.
big Catholic Italian wedding. I mean, it was huge. I mean, we had like 400 people. She had a lot of friends.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
A lot of Italian families showed up. It was just we had like 3-horse buggy carriages. You know, it was
Wow.
unbelievable.
So was that hard to transition from, going to school with these same students your entire life, and then the last 4 years, just being in an entirely new group?
It
I
was
mean, was that hard
nervous.
for you?
For my freshman year at Harbor High,
Hmm.
it was very because I didn't know anybody. You know, I
Hmm.
mean, everybody, and it was like, you know, I had this mental image of public schools. Oh, as soon as you get there, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. You know, something's gonna happen. Like, hey, I know you would. And I was waiting for that to happen,
Yeah.
but it was probably a good part of my freshman year. I started to meet people, started to become friends, and it's like, oh, these people are no different than me, you know. And I started enjoying it more, and it's just. And I still
Yeah.
kept some of my old friends from Mark Hermel,
Okay.
and like one of them is my best friend I grew up with, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was
Well,
actually
that's
it's a
good.
benefit. Yeah, I got both schools, a lot of good friends from both schools. It was good.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, Matt
Oh,
froze up again.
I know there's that aspect of you look at people who you went to school with, and like I'm 35, and I look at people like I'll see people on Facebook, and I'm just like, I have technically known that person since I was 6 years old. You know what I mean? Because I've been
yeah.
going to school with them.
Mhm.
We're not friends. We don't really know each other, but it's still that like level of comfort of just like I know these people.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of neat, but that's all you really get out of it.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
I, yeah, but it's. I think in high school is probably more when you make those friends that you'll probably be friends with, like
I
into your
got one
adult
for sure
years.
out of high school. I got one really close friend, you know, that I would die for. You know, he same
Yeah,
for me that we're still friends.
yeah. Uh, so what'd you do after you graduated high school?
Lots of cocaine. We so
Yeah.
my
I was gonna bring that up because I always tell people like when
yeah
you're born when you are in the 80s,
yeah.
if you are like at least a teenager or up, you've done coke. Like you just have. You don't have to say that you did. It's fine. You
No.
can deny it, but I know that you have because you were in that time period. So
No, it was it was around. I never done anything. The worst I've ever done was weed. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. And that was a long time ago. And,
Oh,
and I never
right
had
now
a
you're never going to be president, Scott.
never.
Oh,
well,
for
you know,
shame.
I never inhaled. But no, like yeah, I mean, after high school, I think I was more happy to be free than worrying about my education. Because my grandfather wanted me. He was trying to push me to go to Kent State, be something. Like oh yeah, I will. I'll get to that. I get to that. And it was at the times where, oh my God, I got my head in a car. All these different. I'm dating a lot of different girls, and alcohol was a big part of it. I think that was my worst. Was probably the alcohol. Just having fun drinking with my friends, doing things that you couldn't do as a young kid. The world was just opening up for me, and I think in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have more focused on my education than having a good time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've always had jobs.
A certain age.
I've always worked. I mean, even like in high school, I had like this small part-time jobs. My grandfather was very adamant that you work, you have to work, and it was really nice because my grandfather used to keep a little pot next to his refrigerator, and all through high school, I would hope I'd be like $20 for gas, $20 for get something to eat. There was always money there that he always left for us, which was really cool. And the day I graduated from high school, I opened up that pot to grab $20 to go out somewhere, and there's a note that says, "Congratulations for graduating high school. Now get a job." And there was like no money. I was like, "Okay, girl, I got you." So I ended up working. God, I think it was I worked for a carpet place cutting carpet. That was my first job, my first full-time job. Yeah, somewhere in Madison.
Yeah,
and I've worked ever since then.
All right. You never had the desire to go to college? Never.
Actually, there was a point where I actually ended up getting a job working for an internet company called Stratus Internet. They're not around. It was a local mom and pop internet, dial-up internet, mind you. This is I'm still during the dial-up years. I was actually a tech support for dial-up for this company called Stratus Internet. And before that job, I always had like these really blue collar jobs where I worked construction, I worked in factories. I had just all hands on, and which learned a lot. I know it's like I'm a master of trades. Like I know how to form up a concrete. I know how to lay asphalt. I know all this stuff. This is useless now for me. But when I started doing this, I applied to be a tech support for this internet company, which no experience whatsoever. I had a computer. That was my resume. I have a computer.
Which is better than a lot of other people had.
Yeah.
You're probably far more experienced.
And I remember going for the job, and it was downtown Cleveland. It was in the Keith building, downtown Cleveland. And I remember going for an interview, and I had a nice London fog jacket. I had, cufflinks. I mean, I looked like I was a lawyer. And I went for this interview, and this guy, his name was Valori or something. And I was picturing this guy. He's going to see right through me. He knows I'm going to be a fraud. He goes, "Computer, that's all you got. Get the hell out of here." And this guy comes in. He's wearing sweatpants, sweatshirt. I'm like, this must be the janitor. This guy's cleaning the room. He goes, "Oh, hey, my name is Valori." I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to do an interview. I'm like, all right. It's like getting punked here or something. It looked like I was going to interview him for a janitor, for being a janitor or something. And the interview lasted maybe 5 minutes. And I guess I'm very, very charismatic. I was, "Hey, this is what I know." And I bullshitted my way. I've been reading up, like, what the hell is an IP number? Like, what the hell is that? And I was trying to figure out all these things. He leaves. He comes back, goes, "All right, you're hired. Pass the drug test, and we start next week." I'm like, "Oh, okay." That was probably the scariest job I've ever had in my life. But
how long did you do it?
Huh?
How long did you do it?
God, it lasted the IT industry for me, because they ended up selling their company to another company to another company. I was bouncing around, and it started in 1999, and I think the last job I had was in 2002 is when I got out of IT, because they outsourced tech support. And I was like, well, and I ended up start selling Verizon cell phones from there. So.
Okay. So when was
I learned so much. It was unbelievable. To go back to the schooling, though, I signed up for classes at Cleveland State University. I was going to start pick up classes. Actually, had everything going, and the company I work for just says, "Hey," I told him, "It's like, I'm going to be cutting short because I have classes that are going to be starting soon, because I want, to better myself, educate." They go, "Well, we want you full time now. We want you. We have this business department we want you to be a part of. We like how you talk to customers. We want you to be a part of that." I go, okay. I go, but that's going to cut into my classes. We'll pay you more. I'm like, okay. So I was an idiot, but I said I canceled all those classes and I got out. And it's like, well, I'm going to go to school for the job that I have. So I was like, I don't know. I wasn't thinking clearly even then. So,
Yeah, I
but
don't
it
think
was
there's anything wrong with that though.
fun job. It was a really good, awesome job. And
Yeah.
even new friends there. I met new friends. It was awesome.
Awesome. Were you living? Did you move to Cleveland?
I had an apartment in Parma for
Okay.
like 2 weeks with this girl that was just really good looking, and she had a lot of guy friends. I mean, really close guy friends. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I would wake up some guys sitting on the couch. Like, who's this guy? Oh, it's my best friend.
That's my other best friend.
Yeah,
It's
another
Jim.
guy. Just one guy, he was like just buff monster. I'm like, who's that? Oh, he's my own friend. I went to school. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So I moved out, went back to Ashtabula, and I commuted from Ashtabula to downtown Cleveland.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
I did that for like 3 years, at least 3 years.
So when and where did you meet your first wife?
It was at Geneva on the Lake. I remember going to the Cove. I was with my friends.
Watching Mushroom Head, I assume.
Oh, I would have been nice. But it was I think it was Disco. Remember Disco Explosion? Disco
No.
Explosion was playing.
Wasn't the dueling pianos?
Dueling piano. I remember going there and it was so crowded. I was so uncomfortable. It's just all these hot, sweaty people. Like, oh, I gotta get out of here. I can't stand this. So I walk out and she was sitting on the bench. She was just bored out of her mind. I would just talk shop and exchange emails and AOL Instant Messenger, at the time.
So when was this? The like the late 90s?
It was I started seeing her around the year 2000.
Okay.
So, and then we started dating towards 2001, and we got moved in from there. So,
Okay.
she had a daughter. She had a daughter. She was 4 years old when we moved in.
Okay.
And so I pretty much adopted her when we got married and stuff like that. So to me, I raised her since she was 4, but I don't call her my stepdaughter,
Yeah. So how long were you with her?
Oh, geez. Married, well, together plus being married, I would say about 14 years.
14. Wow. Okay.
14
So then,
years.
so that's your oldest daughter.
Yeah, my oldest daughter is getting married. Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's not my natural daughter.
Yeah. See, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that you had adopted her. Or maybe
but
I did. I don't even remember.
It's like my half brothers. I hate calling them my half brothers. Like,
yeah.
She's my daughter, and she calls me dad. It's like I helped raise this woman, this girl. I'm so proud of her. She's such a smart kid.
Yeah. So her dad isn't like her biological dad isn't.
He made an attempt to be a part of his life, but her mother kind of knew what kind of person he is. She didn't want to say anything. She'll let her figure it out, and she did. She kind of figured out what kind of person he really is, and he had some issues. He was married, and he had some issues, but she knew where I was. She knew exactly who I was and what I did for her. So, but I kind of felt bad that happened because he could have been a nice guy. He has a wonderful daughter. But
well,
I lucked out.
I'm
the dad now.
So what, if you don't mind me asking, what happened with your first wife? Like to lead to divorce?
We were young. My first wife, we were young. We got married young.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of it's because she was Italian, I was Italian, and it just everything clicked together. I mean, we fell in love, and very young and naive. I had figured, this is the progression of your life. Got to find your woman. Got to, get married. And this is, I always thought that's the rule because you went to a Catholic school. That's the rules you have to follow, And so, it was fine for a while, and then we just realized that we were way too young. We had a lot of different interests and stuff like that. I give her some credit though. She did open up a whole new world for me when it came to like musicals, like
oh, cool,
like Phantom of the Opera and stuff.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And because I was, believe it or not, I was very close-minded kid growing up. To me, people who are gay, like, oh, you make fun of them, you didn't care for them, and
well, that's what you were raised to believe.
Exactly.
I mean,
and it was all heavy metal, rock and roll, mullets, and I didn't have a love.
I was just gonna say, and then you got older and you realized just how gay heavy metal is.
Christ, Pastor Pussycat, what the hell was I thinking of? But I was so close-minded that I wasn't. She opened up another world. I started to hang out with these people. I was like, well, no, this guy is gay, but it's like this guy's really cool. We're having wine. It's like like I have such a misconception about this whole world, and I give her credit for that because she just opened up something I would just mock at or just push it aside, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
And then the music, like I remember going and seeing Phantom, Les Miserables. I mean, all these different musicals. I'm like, I never would thought in a million years, like, pussy
Yeah.
music. But it's awesome. It was like, especially Phantom of the Opera, when I saw it the first time, it just blew me away, and it just opened up a whole nother world like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially growing up and like liking the movies that you like, they're so theatrical,
Yeah.
like they're so, and those plays like Phantom of the Opera, like they're the same exact thing. They have the same exact elements. It's the
Yep.
music. It's yeah.
I love the storyline. Oh yeah, like I fell in love with him. God, I've been missing out on this for many years.
Yeah. That's
Was,
very cool then.
Mhm.
That she had such a positive
She
impact
did.
on your life and
Yeah,
gave
it
you a
just
lot, apparently.
exactly. And it's sad that there's being young, there's a lot of other young people around you that were very attractive. So she was attracted to another guy, and so things didn't work out very well. So
Hmm.
long story short, we ended up getting a divorce.
I assume you still talk to her, though. I mean, you kind of have to.
My first one, yeah, in crossing, we would
Yeah.
cross paths every now and then. Her family still loves me to death.
Hmm.
One of her aunts works with me at the hospital, and she gives me hugs. We miss you and all this stuff, and it feels good. And they're really good people. I have really nothing bad. They were nice people. It was a huge Italian wedding. Holy crap! But it was nice people.
Yeah. So then, when did you encounter your second wife?
At the gym on the lake. Is that what you asked me?
No, I asked you your first wife.
Christ, I'm sorry.
Oh, so that's your second wife.
My second wife was the one I met at Geneva on the Lake.
Oh, that you just told the whole story about.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then did you have your second daughter with your second wife too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
my first, but I'm sorry. Let me recap here.
No,
So
that's okay. Sorry.
My oldest daughter, my youngest daughter is all with my second wife.
Okay.
My first wife, we never had any kids.
How long
had
did
two
that
dogs.
last?
Huh?
How long did that last with your first wife?
Maybe 5 years.
5 years.
5
It wasn't. Do you still talk to her at all, or?
In crossing, like I said, her aunt works at the hospital.
Oh, yeah, okay.
In passing, we reconnected one time on Facebook, just a few things here and there, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much where we.
Oh, okay.
My first wife, I met her at Perkins. If you ask me, my first wife, I met her at Perkins, and she went to the same school. She went to the same middle school. She was older than me. She was like a year older than me in middle school. So I knew of her. I just never knew
Cradle
her personally.
snatcher.
So, but yeah, my first one. I remember talking to her at Perkins at the time, and then we started getting together. And then she, like I said, she opened up the whole world of Phantom of the Opera music and get to know the real people in the world that are actually not evil. They're actually super nice people, and so that was all my first wife.
Okay, all right.
I swear, I thought you asked me about my second wife.
I don't know. I might have. I'm lost.
Rewind that tape. Let's find out. I'll have to go back and listen now.
So, all right, I'm done. I'm done talking about your multiple wives and all your children that you have.
Thank God.
When did you start working at your current job? Which we are not going to say where you work.
Yeah.
If you're
so this May would be 14 years. 14 years. Yeah, 14 years this May. Actually, prior to that, I was working at a similar job in Geneva doing exactly the same thing for an outside company. And I had a friend that worked at this current hospital, I can say hospital. And and they said, hey, there's a positioning opening up. I'm like, it pays like $4 more an hour, way better benefits, is way closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for it. The interview just went spectacular. Hired me like the very next day. It was a really interesting interview because guy was like a military guy. He goes, I'll tell you what, I like your interview. I like what you're saying. He goes, I got like 5 other people I'm interviewing. I'll make sure I personally call you, let you know if you got it or not. All right. So it's going to be about a week. I'm like, all right, fair enough. He calls me the very next day. Oh, by the way, you got the job. Oh, really? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, there was no fool around. We want you to work. I'm like, oh, it made me feel good too. It's like,
yeah,
awesome. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And the rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've been there for 14 years doing the same job?
Basically. Yeah. It was funny because my whole point of getting into that hospital is to get my foot in the door to get into the IT department because I just still have fresh knowledge, computers, and I wanted to get into the IT department. That was my whole goal. And then when I got into the business I am, I really like this part. I mean, I get to see a lot of things. I get to throw people down, like get violent with people. And I realized that we were still getting paid more than the IT department. I don't want to go
Oh,
backwards.
there you
I
go.
think they're better now, I think. But at this point, like I'm invested. I was like, I might as well just stick it out. And
Mhm.
I still have a really good time.
Yeah.
The same bullshit all the time, but it's not a bad thing. I've
Yeah.
had worse jobs. They got paid less. That's how I look at it.
I have to say that I worked there for several years too. It's where we met. We became friends there. Um, you were somebody, especially in that position that you do. You were one of the only people there that I really respected because I
Thank you.
felt like you're an actual, like you're a good dude. You're not
Mhm.
doing this because you're like on a power trip, you
No.
know. Because my first job in the hospital, I was a transporter, and
I remember.
so I saw a lot of I would come to those code violets and those problem patients, and
Mhm.
anytime you were there, it was like it's gonna be a lot easier than if any of these other dudes are here because the other guys are so confrontational and forceful, and you and I had the same idea of just like let's de-escalate,
Yeah,
let's
and it's when
talk
you.
to them like human beings.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I ended up liking you so much because I could tell like you're an actual decent guy.
Mhm.
So yeah, I
I
think you
appreciate
did your
that.
job well.
Yes, thank you. I
There,
still get a lot of people mention that when I go to work. Oh, thank God you're working. It
yeah,
was like, or it was like, oh, I wish you were working yesterday. Oh, we had this guy. He would have been perfect for you. Like,
yeah,
and it's hard because you do it over and over again, and you start to lose patience for patients.
mm-hmm,
And especially if it's the same people over and over again. But I keep looking at it as like I'd rather just talk this guy down than have to physically touch him or
yeah,
anything like that.
and
I just
because
imagine the two of you just, being like, let me get the rag here. I'm gonna put it down there. Breathe deep.
well, and that's the problem because it's like I had the same thing. I stopped going to him to
Mhm.
like the codes and stuff because, and I felt bad because I'm such a big guy, and
Yeah, it
when
helps.
people like that show up, they do get intimidated.
Mhm.
Uh,
Safety in
but
numbers.
yeah, but then some of those patients you can't calm them down, or if you get there too late and they've already been
Mhm.
riled up even more.
Mhm.
I think the last one I went to, like some guy, he spit like right in my eye,
Oh,
and
I hate that.
I stopped going not because just of that, but because like I had my hand up like this,
Mhm.
and I stopped
You're this
myself.
close. Yes.
Yes, but it was that thing that was just like, and then I just realized like I don't think I have the patience to come to these anymore.
Mhm.
It, it's like,
I struggle with that a lot when situation
mm,
happens. Excuse
yeah,
me, beer talking. You get spit on, bit on,
hmm,
kicked in the nuts. You're
yep,
like you just want to crunch the guy, but it's like all right, he's just bringing you down to his level, and he's going to beat you with experience.
hmm,
So I was like, all right, you got to relax, calm. And I have so many stories where I actually did kind of flip out a little bit,
hmm.
and I had people behind me, all right, Scott, calm down. It's like, I
Yeah,
know, and they
it's
do it.
hard not to. We're
It
only
is.
human. You're only
It
human. Like
is.
you can only take so much, and
Exactly.
it's one of those things. Like you try to be empathetic and know, like, okay, this guy or this girl, this
Mhm.
anybody, like there could be anything wrong with them. They're probably mentally ill. They're
Mhm.
probably on drugs. Like a lot of the ones that come in, and you try to be sympathetic towards
You have
that,
to.
but then
Yeah.
there are days that it's just like
Yeah.
you
You just give
fuck.
up. You do, I do my every day. I try, you got to be sympathetic. You have to try to relate to them. I lie a lot. I was like, oh yeah, I had the same problem you had. I did the same thing. And they're like, all right,
Mhm.
you're on the same team if you had that same problem. And that's
Yeah,
all it takes. Just
yeah.
talking to people.
Just being a human and talking to people, and a
I
lot of
always,
times that gets it done. Instead of busting in there thinking you're king shit,
yeah.
and like I gotta.
Look here, I got a handful of Percocets and a 6-pack. Let's go for a walk.
Come on, I know where the pharmacy is. Let's come. Let's go. We'll have a party.
You want to go to the morgue? You want to check it out? It's kind of cool in there.
We got some stuff laying around too.
Dude, I remember one time when I was working down in the basement, and you go walking by and you're carrying this red biohazard bag, and you
Oh.
see me and you stop, and I'm just like, hey, what's going on? You're like, oh, nothing, just taking this leg to the morgue. And I was like, really? You're like, yeah, they just amputated it up and whatever. And I'm just like, all right. Oh boy.
I think we had a lot of puns after that. It was like, oh, shake a leg. Get out of
Yeah.
here. She was like, we had a lot of stupid puns after that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially working with you. So are you kind of like now at this point? You probably got to be up there as the like one of the senior security guards. At
Second. Yeah.
Is it? We don't have to name names, but is it the same guy doing
Yeah.
that? Okay.
We used to bump heads all the time. He had a different way of looking at things than I do.
Yeah.
He handled things differently than I did. But we always bump heads. We have different ways of looking at things. But recently, the last couple of years, we've started to really become a lot more friendly with each other.
Good.
We get along so much better now, and it's just everything's working out really good with each other.
Good.
You know, there's some things I disagree, but I don't bring it up anymore. I'm like, it's just how some people are, and I'm gonna go with it. And I think it made it a lot better for us to work together like that. So
Yeah, definitely. Especially probably after he realized, like, okay, this guy's not going anywhere.
yeah, and
People like him. He does his job well.
Yeah. And I never call off work. I always call in. You know, there was a time him and I were so angry at each other, but he needed somebody to come in. He's like, "Would you want to come in?" I'm like, yeah, I'll come in. Oh, okay. It was like he was expecting me to say, "F you, I'm not coming in." You know, no, that's my job. I'll come in. And so I think that made things better for us. So.
Good. Yeah. Sometimes it's just that one little thing that completely changes a relationship.
It does, you know. I've been there so long. It's like there's no reason to fight. You know, or argue.
What's the craziest thing? If you could think of something, what's just the craziest experience that you've had doing your job?
Gosh, there's so many.
I know, right?
I gotta make sure I say it just right so I don't incriminate myself or anybody.
Yeah,
else.
and if it's anything that you're worried about, don't say it. But we could talk about it later. But because I tell people about the shit that happened to me, like even just in the short, compared to you, the short amount of time I worked there, I know the stories I had, so I cannot imagine what you have experienced.
I had this one creepy situation. This is like 7 years ago, so I think it's fine. But there was a guy that was hitching a ride on those trains, the coal bin, those big coal bins. Am I saying that right?
Sure.
And he must have been on it for like months. And he must have, and then he was found. One of the Conrail people, the train people, found him, called the ambulance, they brought him to the hospital, and he was covered from head to toe of black soot. I mean, if he hadn't opened up his eyes and show his blue eyes, I would thought he was a black person. He was so coated with, it was like it was unbelievable. You would think it was just him, and he was so skinny, and he lost his mind so much. Wow. And it was just so creepy. And this is like a long time ago. So even then I was like nervous. And he kept having this chant, like da, and he had words to it, like cheeseburger, cheeseburger. And he kept saying it over and he like just stare at you with these blue eyes and just kept coming at you. And he was like, it was just like a monster. I was like, this is a perfect creature you can use in a movie.
Yeah.
And he kept going. And I asked the EMT guys, where did you find him? He was on a train. I guess apparently he's from like West Virginia somewhere. And he's been on it for years. They've been looking for this guy. He's been missing. And it was mentally estranged. And I kept thinking that noise. What is that noise? Why am I hearing that? What it was is like when you're riding a train, when they go over tracks, you go, so for some other reason, he caught up, so he had some kind of mantra. He's like, and he had words and he had sing. It was just the most bizarrest thing.
Wow.
Ever. I to this day, I wish I would know what happened.
Yeah.
It was the most creepiest thing, sad story, depending how the situation happened. But that was very creepy. Wow. And I had ghost stories too.
Oh yeah, we had fun. I loved when you were there, and when it was a slow night.
Oh yeah,
and downtown. We could go. I don't want to say they would get anybody in trouble, but we would check out some stuff that
some
normally we wouldn't get to go to, and there's some creepy stuff there. That's an old hospital.
Yeah, oh yeah, there was one building that's not there anymore. It was the Rogers building. It was older than.
Oh, is that gone now?
It's gone. Yeah, they just made room for more parking, basically.
Okay.
But the basement in there was so creepy. And it was like yes.
That was the one that had the tunnel, right? Mm-hmm. That was like closed off.
Yes, because the tunnel would go from one building to another. Back in the day, people would just, they travel, and this old building used to bring bodies, and they used to do autopsies in there. And it was like out of Frankenstein, these old brick arches, and it was like old fashioned, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, they closed off the tunnel because it was collapsing over years. But you would go down and you take a left, you would think there would be a huge tunnel, but it just cuts off right there. Mm-hmm. But from the standpoint, it just looks so creepy, like the lights flickering. It was like the moss, and it was an awesome setting for a horror movie.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Those are some good times.
Mhm.
So now in your life,
Mhm.
you said your oldest daughter, she's 25,
25.
getting
She'll be-
married.
She's getting married this year.
Wow. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
Oh, she's marrying the perfect guy.
Really?
I couldn't ask for a better son-in-law. Um, Kid's super smart. Graduated from college. He's got a doctorate in pharmaceutical. So
Oh, okay.
she doesn't even have to work if she doesn't want to. But she's like how I should have been when I was young. Like so education. She wants to better. She's going to school for. Well, now I think it's physical therapy. Now she had so many different classes she wanted to take, and she ended up with physical therapy. And they just bought themselves a brand new house out in
Wow.
Madison. Yeah, up in Madison, and weddings coming together. So it's going to be awesome. So I'm so
Awesome.
proud of her. She's so smart, and the kid that she married is like, if you ever break up with him, I will marry this guy because he comes from such a beautiful family. He's got like Brady Bunch kids. He comes from a Brady Bunch family. He's got like two
Yeah.
sisters, two brothers, and they're his mother and father, like the nicest people. They're like, and I'm afraid because they're Ohio State fans, Browns fans. It just all goes together. Good people. That's good people.
Good. Awesome.
Mhm.
And your youngest daughter, she's
16.
And so what, she got a year or two left of school?
Yeah. She's gonna. I can't believe she's gonna be 17 in August. But yeah, she's a sophomore in high school right now.
Wow.
And she loves going to school because she
Yeah.
likes being there. She likes interacting with the teachers. She doesn't like this whole online stuff. Which
I'm sure.
when I was young, I would have loved to have done that. Like be home, go to school.
Yeah.
I would have killed for that.
Mhm.
But she would rather be in school, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, kids are fucking weird.
Yeah. And it's funny because my youngest is totally polar opposite of my oldest. My oldest one was always Barbie dolls, pink tiaras. The
Mhm.
youngest one wants to go fishing, look for worms, and catch animals, and she loves like all the movies. She just loves the 80s. She wants.
Yeah.
I got her a record player with all these old 80s albums like AC/DC, Def Leppard, Queen. She loves all that, which is awesome to me.
Awesome.
It's like reliving
Yeah.
my life with her again. She loves
So-
going to Comic-Con with me.
Did she naturally get into that on her own, or did you?
She
kind
did.
of
Like
influence her?
no pressure from me, honestly. Like I remember she goes, Dad, let's go down fishing. I'm like, really? You want to go fish? Let's do it. That's what I used to do as a kid, And
Cool.
yeah, she's really nerdy too. She likes all like computer stuff.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What do you think? What's going on in your life? What are your future goals? What are your future plans?
Playing it by ear, really.
Yeah.
So I took care of my grandparents. They got old, and I ended up taking care of them. And it was nice because I got to know them a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Than growing up as kids, especially my grandfather. He had such the perfect memory because he never drank or smoked his whole entire life.
Wow.
And he was a borderline vegetarian. Being Italian, that's hard.
Mhm.
So for him to be a borderline vegetarian is like unheard of, being Italian. But he would tell me so many awesome stories growing up, and I'm going to cherish those forever. And he got to see his great granddaughter and my grandmother too. We all lived together. Got to see her great grandkids grow up, and and when you get old, things break down. You start to pass away, and I was prepared for that.
Mhm.
So
How old were they?
my grandfather passed away at 93.
Okay.
My grandmother was 89 when she passed away. My
Okay.
grandmother passed away first, and then my grandfather.
Yeah.
grandfather-
You know what?
It was hard for my grandfather after that. Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Health
I
is
know.
important.
Not to interrupt, we have a comment on here from a person by name of Carl Hungus, and he says the grammar munchers tried to call. I don't know what that means.
What kind of call?
The grammar munchers tried to call.
I have no idea what that means.
So,
Grammar?
so I think Matt, did we accomplish something with using political words on our last show?
Oh yeah, actually, I think we did. I was gonna wait to bring that up until we actually did that show again, though.
Okay,
On
I'm
Tuesday.
just curious about Carl Hungus.
Well, Carl Hungus is the character from The Big Lebowski that Peter Stormare plays,
Okay,
like a porn star name. So I don't know about the grammar munchers.
well, it's in your chat.
Okay, I'll have to look at it later.
Oh, that's an awesome movie, though. The Big
Oh,
Lebowski.
absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
but yeah, I remember, and like I really did feel bad because I knew how close you were with your grandpa.
Hmm.
Just and it always made me smile when I'd look at like your Facebook page and it would be like you out with him and like
Hmm.
doing stuff, and because you posted about him all the time,
Oh
and
yeah,
and
like
you
I
would
had to
take
take as much
pictures and
advantage. Had to take as much advantage of him as possible because
oh
I
yeah,
know eventually this is all going away. So God, I learned so much. Even with my grandmother too, she used to tell me these stories, and it was just like I'm gonna cherish that for the rest of my life. So.
yeah,
Hmm.
well, that's good. And I'm it's good you got to spend so much time with them and
Hmm.
learn all that.
Oh yeah,
So, all right, well
yeah, but
that
nothing
uh,
else exciting going on
yeah,
other than just
and that's
this
fine.
whole being quarantine. There's not much to do. I'm dating this girl for a while now, and we do our best to have fun together.
Yeah,
Uh, Go out as much as we can. Keep our social distancing as best we could.
yeah, that's got to be
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah.
I never thought about it until you just said that. But how hard must it be for people? How hard must it be for people to have like start a relationship
Mhm.
in this time period? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. There's nothing you can't do anything other than just hang out with each other.
Yeah,
Watch movies. When she was a big wine drinker, so that's one thing we had in common and stuff like that. But yeah, you
yeah,
can't go to the movies anymore. Well, you could, but you
mm,
know, you
It's
know,
the
yeah.
it's the gamble you want to take.
yeah.
Which really sucks because I don't know how things are for you up there,
Mhm.
but our theater, like, it didn't really close.
Mhm.
But it would show old movies all the time. Like that was their entire thing. There were so many movies I wanted to go and watch, but it's like we're in a pandemic. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go. But it's one of those things that if they did that regularly, like throughout the year, I'd be there all the time
Oh yeah.
watching these older movies, especially around Christmas. God, they had like Batman Returns and Gremlins and like all these classic movies. It's like, God, I would love to see that in the theater.
There's a theater in Willoughby was doing the same thing. They were showing
Okay.
old movies. Of
Yeah.
course, one of them was Indiana Jones. I wanted to go watch, but I was like, I better not.
I Well, that's a nice thing if you watch, and I assume Willoughby probably has them too, just because they're bigger. But I know Tinseltown probably does it too, because the theater that we have here in Lancaster is the same company as Tinseltown.
Mhm.
But they would do like every Sunday when things were normal, they would still show older movies.
Mhm.
So we would go. I got to see Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ghostbusters, The Shining,
Mhm.
like all these classic older movies. So
Awesome movies,
they
yeah.
would do it once in a while, but it wasn't like every week or like a multiple different types of movies. I think movie theaters need to do that more often though, because
That'd be nice. I would love to see that.
there's
Love to
such a
see the old
huge
movies.
difference. Yeah, and there's such a huge difference watching a movie in the movie theater,
It
no
is. It's
matter
a
how many
whole.
times you've seen it.
I agree, 100%. I do have to say, a couple years ago, Cleveland Orchestra would play at Blossom, and
Mm.
they would actually show the movie, and they would play the soundtrack live while the movie was playing.
Oh, that's
Of course, the very
cool.
first one was Raiders of the Lost Ark. I had to go. And had the
Yeah,
best seats in the house, and it was like watching the movie with the best sound system ever in the world. I mean, it was, and they were on point. The movie that it was the most. I brought my hat. I had an Indiana Jones hat. I brought that. I was like, oh, I was loving every minute of that.
that's
I brought my
awesome.
daughter with. Oh, it was awesome. I got a good time.
Yeah.
They also did Star Wars. They also did Empire Strikes Back. What other movies they've done? Or Harry
Uh,
Potter, I think.
oh, I wanted to ask you a question, and you had told me that you really liked soundtracks, like to
Movie soundtracks.
movies.
Yeah.
So,
Orchestra.
John Williams and stuff like that. So those are the older ones.
Mhm.
But are there any like new soundtracks, like to newer movies that you like have decided like really love or enjoy?
I do. Like they all sound good, regardless if I don't like the movie or not. The soundtrack is really good.
Okay.
A lot of these new composers, they've been around for years. But
Mm,
yeah, like on my playlist, I have all these different movie soundtracks. I've never seen the movies, but to me, I love the orchestra sound. I love the
yeah.
how it is. It just for something it feels to me, regardless if I like the movie or not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's how do you feel about as a fan of John Williams and Star Wars, how do you feel about the Mandalorian soundtrack?
I It was awesome. I
Yeah,
it is. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
I think
And
it's a
that's just
good
such a good
direction to take
series
it.
too. I love Mandalorian.
Oh,
It was
absolutely.
oh yeah, the ending just blew me away. It brought me, but that ending, not to spoil it, but it brought me back when I was a kid
I bet.
watching it. It was, I watch on YouTube people's reactions watching it. I would have almost had the same reaction. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah,
Is that who I think it is? I'm like, oh God, I've never gone like this. It's like, oh, it goes right to your heart when you see it. Just
yeah,
brings you back as a kid. I loved it.
yeah.
Every bit of it. Yeah.
It was definitely one of those moments that you just like you had to live in that moment because I
Yeah.
personally afterwards like after the glow faded I was just kind of like I kind of hated that they did that story wise,
Yeah.
but the moment itself
Hmm.
it's so fucking cool that you're just
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll just deal with it in that moment. It's
Yeah.
fine.
It was. I see your point exactly. But it's just like, oh, it's like, oh, this is so awesome. I'm so happy. Yeah. I actually get teared up at some things like that too. So.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And there's some other like new composers that I really like.
Oh, yeah.
Like I really like the Into the Spider Verse soundtrack.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've listened to that
I
one.
think I have not. No, I have not.
It's really good. I really like that. And like Mad Max Fury Road.
Mhm.
That I think it's like Junkie XL or something like that is the composer. But there's a lot of new like good new stuff too.
Yeah. Even the soundtrack to Tron Legacy,
Oh
Daft
yeah,
Punk,
with Daft Punk.
Daft Punk.
Yes.
I love that soundtrack. I actually my ringtone is one of the
Yeah,
one of Daft
I've
Punk songs
never
on there.
even watched the movie, but like
Oh,
you said, I've never seen the movie, but I listened to the soundtrack
oh
because
yeah,
there's some good stuff.
I remember watching Tron, the very first Tron movie, and then I waited for Tron Legacy, which was in 3D, which was really good.
Yeah, I
And
think we were working together when that came out because I remember you telling me how much you loved the original
oh,
Tron.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I'm such a nerd when it comes to I have like this curio full of all 80s stuff, like um movie props, and like I have the
Hmm.
Tron disc, and I have like action figures and comic books, all kinds of crap. My youngest daughter loves it. She tries to contribute to it as well.
Dad will love me if I bring these
Yeah.
'80s replica.
Yes. They go, don't touch the idol. The narrator's lost. Don't you touch it. She's like, put a sandbag on there or something like that. But I got that. I got the medallion. I got the Holy Grail. I just recently got the diary, the Holy Grail diary from
Oh
Oscar, and
boy,
it's so detailed.
you
I love the aesthetics
goddamn
part of it.
nerd.
Oh, big time, big time. Oh yeah,
like like your girlfriend comes over the first time, you're just like, check this out. This is so cool. It's the diary that Dr. Jones Sr.
yes.
had.
And
And she's just like,
I
what the
even
fuck
I
are
even
you
opened up.
talking about?
I go. Do you? I asked her. Do you remember watching The Last Crusade? She goes, yeah. I go, look. I flip. Go, look. Adolf Hitler's autograph is on the book right there. I go, that's. She goes, what? I go, it's in the movie. Remember? Never. It's like I was so upset.
Please leave.
Yeah.
Just
Son,
get out of my
Mario,
house.
build this.
Don't even touch nothing. Don't even look at it.
Oh shit. All right, so I got two more questions.
Sure. Bring
And
it
then
on.
we got the question wheel.
Oh, awesome.
And these two questions I'm going to ask, we ask all of our guests because I'm just genuinely curious. If you could send a message back to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell them?
Oh, wow. I wouldn't want to change too much the course of my life because I might not be able to, I might lose opportunity of kids running into like my daughter and stuff like that. But I would probably tell myself, be more education, go to more school and stay more healthy. Like,
Mhm.
because I used to go to the gym all the time. I was like a 196-pound monster, And then when I met my first wife, all I ate was pasta, spaghetti. And I just broke out, and I'm never able to get back to where I was prior to that. I mean, it was good food. When you marry a full-blooded
Oh,
Italian
yeah.
family, there's not eating pasta is a sin.
Yeah.
The
But,
bulk diet without the bulking.
yeah, exactly. I wish I would kept working out. I've been like Incredible Hulk by now. But yeah, I would say, keep staying healthy, and just try to educate you more. Schooling. That would probably the only thing I would tell my 18-year-old self.
Yeah. And the second question is, if there was one thing that you could change to make our country a better place to live, what would it be?
I'd love to see if we can eliminate poverty, starving people, and mental health. It's a major thing. And education of our kids. Somehow or another, we have to educate them better.
Yeah.
And I think they're a product of their environment, so it's their parents causing a lot of
Mhm.
these kids having a lot of problems growing up. So if you could try to get on to education, and mental illness is a major problem.
Definitely.
I think that would help change the world. I mean,
Mm.
that's how I look at it.
So do you think, you said when you were in a private school,
Mhm.
when you went to public school, you were learning stuff that you had already learned.
Mhm.
What do you think was better? I mean, do you think that has an impact on it? Do you think that public schools just aren't teaching enough? Or did you feel
Yeah,
that the private school was teaching too much too early?
you can look at it both ways, you know,
Mhm.
because I remember at Mark Carmel, the classes were just generally hard. I mean, at least for me, I mean, because
Mhm.
I didn't have like somebody on my back help me with my mathematics or something like that.
Mhm.
But it did help, believe it or not, even though it was rough. But I went to the public school. I was like, wow, it made it so much easier because I've already done all this stuff. So yeah, I
Mhm.
think education in the public schools needs to improve. I think even I think they might have it now, but like general life classes, like how to do your. Well,
Yeah.
I think they do how you do your taxes, but like
Honestly, I don't know if
how
they
to
do
buy.
because one
Yeah.
of my college classes that I just took, one of
Mhm.
the students in there was talking about how they don't have those classes,
They
at least
should.
around here. And there,
Yeah.
a lot of those kids were still in high school,
Yeah.
and they were kind of lamenting that there was nothing to really uh, do that, like
Mhm.
train kids, teach kids for the real
Yeah.
world.
Like back in the day, we had like home ec. That was the
Yeah,
closest thing of life lessons, like how to cook,
yeah.
basically, you know, how to make, you know. But my daughter did say that she had one teacher taught her how to file taxes and how to save
Oh,
money. And
wow.
like, and I think that's really good. That's new. I've never heard that. So I think more of that
Mhm.
life lessons. I think it's important. Like when you get out, like what are you supposed to do? Like, well, you should learn how to get a job, how to fill out application, you know, resume and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yep,
So
I agree with you.
yeah,
And as for the mental health, I
yeah.
kind of I hope I mean in this country, just medical, health wise, like we're kind
Mhm.
of a little backwards. We're not doing enough
Yeah.
for people in general. But I
Mhm.
think we need to get there to start taking care of people. But I think that mental health needs to be wrapped into that just as much as your
Absolutely. Oh
regular
yeah.
physical health.
Mhm.
I should be able to go and go talk to a therapist and have it be just the same as if I went to an
Foot doctor.
ENT doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
anything like that, it's all wrapped in there in the same thing, and it's treated just as importantly as
Mhm.
our actual physical health. Because mental health and physical health are the same exact thing. I mean,
I agree.
they're just
Absolutely.
as important as
Mhm.
anything else. So,
And you know, in the line of work that I'm in, I get to see it all the time, and it's
hmm
so sad how it's, you know, just one kid who has mental issue affects the whole family, all their friends, and
hmm
they might grow up to be problem kids. They might be going down like to school shooting up classes. You know, if they
yeah,
would have got that kid sooner, maybe he wouldn't have got found a
yeah,
gun and shot kids or something like that. It's all mental
absolutely.
health, you know.
Yes.
So
And that's that's the most political I'll get on this
yeah,
episode too, saying that. But I do think a lot of the problems in this country all boil down to the mental health of and people not being taken care of. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm with you on that one.
yeah.
And now we have Eugene's time to shine.
Oh, my
Woo,
favorite part.
Give us a spin.
I get to do that.
So
Groovy.
whoever oh yes.
It lands on 3.
Number 3. All right. So I don't remember. I think I wrote this down. So I'll let Scott answer it and then I'll answer it. But number 3 is, what is one thing you would make legal in this country?
Hmm, that's a really well, you know, the whole legalizing marijuana is a big topic nowadays, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something else that would. I don't know. That's a really tough question.
Wait, he was in the 80s. Make it cocaine.
Yeah.
Cocaine, cocaine for everyone. God, make it legal.
Make it legal. So
Well,
I would I
yeah,
would have designated, I would make drinking and driving legal, but only in certain areas, like certain roads. And
yeah,
you could kind of just have little tracks if you want. You could put up some bumpers on the side, like when you're bowling and it gets in there, you can just have these little areas. But being drunk and riding around in the car is actually a lot of fun. So I wish there was a legal way to do it.
I don't think
yeah.
that's a good pitch.
That's a good one.
Well, no, I'm
Hard.
saying
Gonna
we
go
need to
hard.
do it legally and safely.
Yeah.
Have like a derby. Just whatever. That's what
Yeah.
I would do. That, or I would make I would actually force people to do gladiator fights, like prisoners, all voluntary. I guess we wouldn't force people to do it,
Mhm.
but it would definitely be a voluntary thing, and we would totally air those, and we'd make some money out of it.
Would you
So
have to do
that's
it yourself, or could you choose a champion for you?
no, you have to do it.
Okay, just
Yeah,
want to make sure.
yeah, because the person who ultimately comes out the winner gets released. So
Well,
you
see,
know,
I thought maybe I could pay a lawyer. That my lawyer would go in.
no, no, we're not doing that. It's got to be you fighting for your own life. Those are the
Fair enough.
things I would make legal. Murder and drinking and driving.
No,
But that's
I
okay.
I really don't have a really good one other than, I mean, that's a really good one, but I don't know. I mean, recreational drugs, I guess, as long as they don't kill you, maybe.
Well, that's something. I think Oregon just did that,
Mhm.
where they legalized all drugs,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
uh, and it's just. But that's like something that's been in other countries, and they've noticed that it doesn't have the effect that you would think it does. Uh, so I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's very progressive. We'll see how it goes. Though. Hopefully, they're able to actually.
I had one friend. Now you kind of sparked the memory. He was going in the military at 18, like, right out of high school, but he wasn't allowed to drink. He could fight for the country, but he's not allowed to have a beer. So I think I would make it legal that make it 18 and old up.
Mm,
Yeah.
see, I do the opposite, and I would actually make it so that you couldn't join the military until you were 21.
Oh, that yeah.
Which I actually am a big like believer in, because I feel like 18 is just I know legally you're an adult, but
Yeah.
mentally
No, yeah.
you're
Yeah.
still children, like, and
Yeah.
they don't have the capacity to make like a lot of these big decisions. And it's not just that, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get up, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt going to college, for something that who knows if they're even going to be doing it. They have a lot of freedom when it comes to stuff that they probably shouldn't, and then they're cut off
Yeah.
from things that
I always thought that if any kids that grow up going to detention centers, YDC, young youth detention centers, that at 18 they have to be in the military just to straighten them out, because I don't think it's going to get better for them if they're like, always constantly stealing, beating up people. Like,
yeah.
to me, if you're in that law, you're always getting arrested. Even at underage, you should go right into the military and let them straight. Those kind of kids, those troublemaker kids, that when they get 18, they're going to be continued troublemaking all the time. So
Yeah.
I think they should go to the
Yeah.
military.
But then that just ties back into the mental health aspect, and
True.
how many of those kids are the way they are because they weren't properly
Raised
raised and
by.
taken care of.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
and
they're a
that's the
product of
thing.
their environment. Yeah.
Yeah, you can ask a question and say, "What would you make legal?" And it's like, well, or illegal, and it's like, well, I would do this. But then for this thing to actually work, there'd be so many other factors that would need to be changed to ensure that it would actually work. That it's like, it's just one thing on top of the other. It's
Mhm.
so hard to change just anything.
Yeah.
It's yeah, our country's fucked, is what I'm getting at.
You need a lot of tweaking. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So that kind of brings me to the end. I don't have any more questions. Eugene, is there anything that you'd like to ask Scott before we let him go?
Uh,
Talk to me,
we could
buddy.
talk about Verizon days, but
I'm
was the
on
commission
T-Mobile
really
now.
worth it for driving to Cleveland all the time?
Well, if he was getting paid for it,
I
then
was
hey,
yeah. That was a fun job working in downtown Cleveland, because at
yeah,
lunch break I had the whole Cleveland to go anywhere I want to go for lunch, and after we got off of work, it was always somewhere to go to the flats. It was a really fun
yeah.
job.
Wait, so
Awesome.
hold on. How about when you used to work in the kiosk in the Ashtabula Mall? Do you miss
Yeah.
like the days of like NRM or the Sam Goody,
Oh yes.
or
Oh man.
like all those stores?
Babbage's.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't been in the Ashtabula Mall in Square, whatever they're calling it now, in at least a good year and a
Wow.
half, maybe.
I was there 2 days ago. I went to a Bed Bath and Body. My girlfriend's birthday was this week, so I bought her something.
Yeah.
It's like a ghost town. You can literally
That's
roll a bowling ball in that single
and
person.
that's what they all are. The one here in town too, which when we
Yeah.
first moved here, I felt like it was like, oh, this is almost kind of like a real mall. But
Mhm.
even in the 5 years since we've lived here, walking through it now, it's like the Ashtabula Mall. It's just
I remember
those.
when Asheville Mall first opened up, it was like
Me too.
awesome. It was like Metropolis. Like
Yeah.
every store, everything, music stores. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many good memories, and everybody complains about it, says they don't want to do it, but like, I remember going Christmas shopping at the mall
Yep.
and like for the family and like all this other stuff, and I just have a lot of good memories. It was so nice to be able to just go somewhere and be able to like there's stuff that I want now, and it's like I try to think of where could I go to actually find this in person, like in the store, and it's kind of like you don't want to go to Walmart.
It's like I try to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah,
I used to love the Kmart Walmart competition.
yeah. I gotta tell you though, the Walmart here in Lancaster is so much trashier than the one in Ashtabula.
Really.
And I think it's because there's nowhere else to shop in Ashtabula. So there's a lot of trashy people that go there, but everybody goes there.
True.
Whereas here at Lancaster, there's a lot more options to go. Like there's Meijer and Target, like a bunch of other places. So we don't ever go to Walmart because it is just I hate being in there and being around people. It's just, you know what, I'll go spend a little extra money. We got a Kroger. Like, we actually have grocery stores here.
Wow.
Is Giant Eagle still open?
Yeah, we still have Giant Eagle.
And that's like the only grocery place besides Kroger and Save a Lot.
Mhm.
You know, Conneaut, that was where I would go to Walmart to do my grocery shopping when I was living there because there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah, I mean, I go there. I mean, Giant Eagle is really nice, but they're a little expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Walmart gets you because they know it's cheaper. So
Yep,
and it's closer to it. For me, it is.
Yeah,
So, but.
Yeah. We're a Kroger family here.
As kids actually, we had grocery stores called Value King. It was a Kroger's at the time. It was like
really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like the old Sabre Plaza that was called Value King. It was a big grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of the Save a Lot is. The Save a Lot in Conneaut used to be a Value King as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember there was a Big Lots.
Yeah, Big Lots at Sabre Plaza.
Well, I don't know about Saybrook. I know there's one in Conneaut. That was like at the opposite end of where the Save a Lot is, right?
Not a Big Lots. It was a Fisher's Plaza.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, Fisher's Big Wheel.
Saybrook Plaza had Hills.
Yes, it did.
Store.
I love like my Hills.
Oh God, I love going to Hills because right across the street was McDonald's. My grandfather used to go to McDonald's, and we used to go right straight to Hills department store.
Oh, that's awesome!
I stole my first toy there.
You piece of work, man.
Yes. Oh, kid. I got caught too. It was a Matchbox.
Oh, geez, you're going to hell for that one, pal.
I was like, oh, I literally I didn't make it look at the street at all. I was like, hey, I remember taking off running.
All right. Well, Scott,
yes,
I want to thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I had a great time talking to you. Eugene, thank you for being here too. I know you got a busy schedule. So, hopefully we can have you back on for maybe another show. I can go ahead and say it here now. I think I'm going to start doing a third show. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to bring Nerdstorm to YouTube, which I did a podcast for a while called Nerdstorm. And we're going to talk about, like movies and dumb nerdy shit. Really, a lot of it is because I want to have a place to talk about WandaVision.
I need to watch that.
Oh, you haven't watched any of it yet?
I have not watched that yet.
It's a really boring show, except for the last 5 minutes of every episode.
Really?
That's kind of my feelings on the whole thing. It's not that great, but
I'll still keep an open mind.
But it's like going to be so big and important for the general Marvel universe that it's like you can't really skip it, I think, if you still want to know what's going on.
Is that Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not horrible or anything. It is just kind of, you might appreciate it more. I don't know, but
we'll see.
But yeah, I think we're going to start doing a new show just so we can talk about shit like that.
Oh, I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I forgot my knickknacks, my nerdy shit. I'm going great detail about all the little things.
But thank you. We'll see you guys.
Yes.
Well, we'll see you Tuesday with whatever that other show is, a stream with no name. We might have a special guest on. Brian will be back, so you can see that. And then next Sunday, Valentine's Day, we are actually going to have on a chat with Matt, my wife, Michelle Markolowski Green.
Oh,
So we'll get to talk to her a little bit and find out what her whole deal is. You know, we're going to find out the factors that it took to hit her, like get her low enough to be like, yeah, I guess I'll just marry Matt.
what
I
did you
think I'm
do?
going to balance that episode.
Oh no, I need you there. You got to be there. You're my moral support. As like tears are streaming down my face, just like you love me, right? Right? But all right, guys, you have a good night. And
I want to end with this.
Go and die with honor.
thank you. And just so you know, Scott has opened my eyes to this new soundboard, so we're about to ruin these shows.
Oh
So-
yeah.